everything they do. So, Dan Lanning's name popped pretty quickly as one of, in fact, he was going to be the guy, right, that A&M was going to go after. And we've seen coaches deny things in the past. Some have done that and left the next day. Some have done that and stayed. Dan Lanning says 0 chance. He's leaving Oregon, fully committed, not motivated by the money. Said lots of coaches don't come up to the podium, deny rumors, or say they aren't leaving because they are afraid of getting egg on their face. He's not. He is staying.
You know, if they were not in the national championship hunt, I would say this is the boldest way you can try to, navigate this line if you don't get this job. But I do believe them because they're in the national championship hunt, like right now. So if you're on the way to like a potential playoff appearance with one place, trying to get to one that hasn't been there, go to one that hasn't been there because you have maybe more resources. I don't know. Like I believe him. I think, A&M, should have given him a call, but if he says no, it doesn't surprise me. And I do tend to believe him on this one.
Yeah, I mean, he's a name that's been mentioned. It wasn't like, this was like all or nothing for Dan Lanning. And A&M hasn't really said anything about the job other than, just what we heard from their AD on Sunday. And now it's all a matter of, speculation. But he was an obvious name to have at the list, and he'd be an obvious name at the top of their list. That was something to kick the tires on. You knew that he was going to have to answer that question at some point, or would get that question at some point, and some other guys already have as well. And there was a lot less of an answer like this one from another part of the candidates pool that we can get to. But this one right here, if he goes to A&M, then you could and look, some people probably already say you can never trust a word that a college football coach says anyways, especially in regards to an open job. Mm-hmm. But this is the most matter-of-fact, like, I'm not going anywhere statement that I've heard in a really long time. I don't think he's going anywhere. I definitely don't think he's going to A&M. I don't think this is one of those where, like, you left the door cracked open. I mean, he said as much as he possibly could with the English language that he does not plan on going to Texas A&M or leaving Oregon. I mean, it could not have been any clearer. He was as matter-of-fact as he could be. He doubled down, tripled down, and he didn't even use, like, the loose language to kind of dance around where you leave that door open, where you're like, my plan is to never leave here. My plan is never to leave here. But if somebody offered me a bunch of, like, there's always that door open. Like, he closed all the doors, basically. Mm-hmm. And so, I absolutely believe him. I don't think he's leaving Oregon. I think he understands that he's got a great job right now that pays good money, that has all the facilities, that has all of the backing, that's going to the Big Ten, that's really good right now, that's on its way to possibly making the playoff this year, who's got a quarterback who's
might win the Heisman Trophy.
The favorite to win the Heisman, although I still don't agree with that, but that's fine. He's one of the favorites to win the Heisman. So things are good in Eugene, and there's not that pull of like, well, he's from Texas, or, I know he's from the SEC, here recently, but I believe everything that he said, and I think he's going to be at Oregon, like I said.
Matt Preem will give us his thoughts. I asked him to come on the show live. He couldn't do it because he's on his way to practice, but there's a lot of other reasons other than what Craig even brought up, including he's been like at 5 places in 5 years. He's got 2 kids at the age, although that has not always kept coaches from leaving. If you didn't hear the audio from Dan Lanning, it kind of reminded me of when he was emphatic about Colorado. And what they were doing and getting all the attention, it seemed like now months ago, and maybe it was. That's coming up at 3:30 or 3:25, and then that's recorded. And then also today, Rod Babers, who covers UT, Texas football analyst, Mark Daniels, UCF in their explosive win against Oklahoma State, We'll have Mac Rhodes, Craig's Off the Radar, John McClain, Paul's Top 5, a bunch to get to here today on the show. You mentioned one of the other names that's been bandied about. Craig, who was the other one that kind of shot it down, or it maybe not quite as emphatic as Dan Lanning?
Well, I'm trying to find it now. I thought it was Jonathan Smith who had a bit more of a vague answer.
Mike Norvell had more, like, I don't know if he shot it down, but he
Did he call you
about it? Yeah, he got asked about it. Actually, I think Garrett has that one as well.
Jeff Traylor, of course. Yesterday we brought that up. What he had said is, and you could hear Jeff talking about focused on the year. All right, there's Norvell.
Yeah, we're so excited about what we're building here. It's a special place. I think that speaks for itself. Here's the other thing Mike Norvell knows and his agent knows. Even if he has no intention of leaving, and he's very much in the Dan Lanning category as it relates to what they're about to do, and where they are in their season and how that would line up. But the last coach that went to A&M came from Florida State, so there might be some financial shell shock going on there.
Yeah.
So he might be able to he's going to get a raise anyway. He might be able to get more money out of them by just like the looming specter of the maroon and white.
Oh, everybody's name who's legitimately could be a candidate will get something out of this if they don't themselves get the job at A&M.
Yeah, I saw Jonathan Smith's name mentioned, but I think it might have been Kalen DeBoer's actually that I was thinking of his response.
Okay.
That was a bit more vague. My focus, it was Kalen DeBoer. My focus is 100% on us playing ball right now. That's always a red flag answer. When it comes to a contract piece, things like that, I'll just make sure it's known that Troy Dannon has done a great job of approaching me and working together to try to make sure the continuity exists here at UW. That doesn't just happen overnight, but those efforts are certainly being made and appreciate that. Great place. Family loves it here. There's a lot of other reasons. I've said it from day one. It's got the bones of the championships. Love the way we've been accepted into this place. It's a great place to coach. Like I said earlier, Troy's trying to do everything he can to help myself and the staff continue this journey we're on. So that was the one that I was thinking of. That's very much not the Dan Lanning response.
What I had read about Washington is that they've got everything going for them right now, but the streamlined NIL collective. It's a bit more scattershot there than it is at other places, which doesn't surprise me. I think some places that might look streamlined, like you pull behind the curtain and it's just. It's like that Geico commercial of the gerbils on the wheel and the Murphy tub. Like that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
But there are some A&M's got a really smooth NIL operation. So if he can throw out there like, look, I need everything I want. So all the things that we need, go ahead and do that. So then I'll say no.
Yeah, so they're giving you a lot of the response. And again, Matt Preem here in